Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome, everybody, to Hot Mic here as we rock and roll as the North Dakota State men's basketball team is set to head out later today for Buffalo, New York. The Bison have their matchup with Michigan State coming up on Thursday afternoon, just after 3 o'clock Central Time. And right off the hop, we have the North Dakota State men's basketball coach joining us here. David Richman joining us as the Bison have their charter later today. So he gets ready to meet the other Izzo, apparently, in his life as they get Tom Izzo in Michigan State. First off, what's the last 36 hours been like since finding out who you're going to be playing?
Hey, do you believe in miracles, Tom?
Yes.
Do you believe in miracles?
What's up?
Well, I was just able to get 5 women out of the house before 9 a.m., which is our goal. And so it won't be a miracle if we upset the Spartans. That was a miracle, though, this morning.
You got that done? All right, that's good stuff. Well, here you go.
The last 36 hours have been great. They've been very enjoyable. It was nice to have a little bit of direction, be back in the practice facility and have a direction of who we're playing at the same sense. Like I love last week too, in particular Thursday, Friday, where we can focus on us. And I thought I just reading some things about Coach Izzo too. There's a focus and there's an understanding of what your opponent does. But at the end of the day, it's about us and being the best version of ourselves. All
right, so now it's on. The glamour of the selection show. Now it's actually a basketball game. What's today entail? And for people that don't know this, Dave, what do you have on tap today and then tomorrow before the actual game?
Yeah, we're actually on our way to the airport right now, and I believe it's like a 2.5 hour flight out to Buffalo, and we'll settle in there real quick and turn around and get a little workout in, and we'll do the same again tomorrow. I do like it from a standpoint of, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday allows us the same 3-day prep as we've been able to do, within our league. And then Thursday playing an afternoon game, 4 o'clock local, 3 o'clock, here Central Standard Time. It'll be quick. It'll be a quick turnaround, and we got to be on point with us, and keep working towards being that best version of us.
All right. What stands out when you look at Michigan State? People are just going to assume, with a Tom Izzo team, athletic, long, tough. Is that accurate, what you've seen so far on the Spartans?
Yeah, it's 100% accurate, and I think the beauty in what they do is the simplicity in what they do. They're not going to try to trick you, Dom. I don't know if they've played a possession of zone all year. They're man. They're just going to tee you up. They are extremely, extremely fast, in their transition from their defense to their offense, and whether their analytical numbers are better, when an opponent off an opponent's made baskets, they get that thing out and they go, and then they're very, very physical on the glass, and they're very, very physical defensively, and those are going to be our challenges.
The customary reporter question I have to ask in a game like this, and based on your other tournament experiences, is a quick start necessary in a game like this?
Oh, I would love a quick start. I would love a strong middle, and I would love an even better finish. And that being said, it's not going to be exactly how we start. It'll be how we finish. Now, I do think the first 8 to 10 minutes of any game, in particular a game where you're facing somebody new, there's going to be a feel-out process both ways. There's going to be an adjustment. Like we have not been able to and will not be able to simulate their speed, athleticism, size, physicality in our practices. That's going that's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, and that's going to be on me to just have some patience with it, which always isn't a good virtue. But it's going to be important sooner than later we settle in and get a feel for how this game is going to be played and called, and put our palms down, not allow excuses to be a part of the equation on Thursday afternoon.
Matching up with a Big Ten team, those don't happen. How much you just relish this opportunity with a chance on the big stage? Like, all right, we got a game that we never could get during the regular season.
Yeah, I love it from a lot of standpoints that, that we get to take our brand, our program, our university, our state, put it on a national stage, and then you get to do it against a Big Ten opponent. And, me selfishly growing up here in the Midwest and, in the Red River Valley, like the Big Ten was always it. Mm-hmm. And when you think Big Ten basketball, it's a physical, knockout, kind of drag out kind of basketball style. And we're going to get tested. I like our group. We've been physical. I showed the clip of the guys of Marshall Bjorklund having blood dripping down his face against Oklahoma the last time we, won an NCAA tournament game, not a first four game. Yeah. And I said, like, there's going to be pain and suffering. It's going to be tough, but this is what you play for.
What goes into those, Dave? What goes into an upset like this for people that watch the tournament when a 14 beats a 3 or a 12 beats a 5 or even a 15 beats a 2? What's the central ingredient that goes into that?
Yeah, we did have some time this past week, Don, to do some digesting into those things, and there are certainly, it would be really nice if we made shots. It would be really great if they missed some shots. But at the end of the day, I really think it's good, and believe, and it's why we build our program this way. You got to be able to defend. You got to be able to take care of the basketball, and you got to be able to finish possessions. And I think that last one, for us will be to be able to compete and stay pretty neutral on the glass with Michigan State. Again, I think the big mark out there, the big beaming light is you need to make shots. And again, like I said, certainly that'd be great, but in the upsets in the last 10, 12 years, the average score, we did some analytics is like 70 to 65, a lower possession game. Like, we understand our margins, are going to be small. But at the end of the day, like, we got to be on point with us.
When you look at just the attention around this, I know you've done, I was joking with you yesterday, you've done a bunch of interviews. What is this? You've done it before. Does it feel even more magnified even from the last time you guys were in the tournament?
It's a great point. It probably does a little bit. I don't know if it's technology. I don't know if it's social media. I will say this. I give Josh Fenton, Mindy Kay, the people at the Summit League, a big tip of the cap, like just the pomp and circumstances, the celebration, the stage, the confetti. There was a real feel to that, and that's taken nothing away from any of our past experiences. I think it speaks to where, not only our program is at, not only where our department is at, but where our university is at. There's expectations. It's supported. About NDSU football. Like, people know across the country about our brand, and we're excited to continue to do our part and showcase that brand, around the country.
So you got the big charter here, though. So if I remember right from asking you, you have the
charter is very similar to how you move around every day. Like this actually might be the Dom Izzo charter flight that we're on.
So you have the window, I'm assuming, window seat today.
I'm a window guy.
Yeah.
There's probably at some point I'm going to shut my eyes and I need to be able to rest. And there's a misconception that I'm an aisle guy because of the leg room.
Right.
No, I'm a window guy.
Yeah. Well, see, now you answer my next question here, because will you take a break here on the plane, or you're studying video, like the football coaches? They're always grinding away, which is not to say you're not, but you need just a little time.
I had one of my daughters say, "Hey, can I have your iPad to watch some Netflix last night? Because, Dad, all you do is watch Michigan State." So there'll be a happy medium in there. Downloaded a couple Netflix. I'm still searching for a new good series.
Oh, okay.
I did watch Formula One with Brad Pitt. With Mallory the other night, which was a great show.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, there's still plenty of Michigan State to digest, and and then practice from yesterday, all those things.
Now, can I assume that you're going to name drop the other Izzo that you know when you meet Tom tomorrow? You're going to do that, correct?
Who's the the other Izzo. There's only one, the guy that lives in Fargo. You know, that
I
that
appreciate
guy.
I appreciate that.
That's the Izzo. Like I will be interested to see, you know, Coach Izzo, what kind of pants he has on, what color they are. They probably got to be Sparty green or something like that.
Yeah, I doubt he's rocking any mustard. I'm going to say that. That's probably pretty confident on that. Is that rare that you two haven't crossed paths? I mean, you know everybody. I thought that, you know, that you've been around for a bit, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, honestly, it is. You saw some of the projections of who we were maybe going to play and some of those things, and you felt like there was a little bit of, you know, connection or a guy that I met. But I don't. I'm sure I've been, you know, close at a recruiting event, but I don't really recall a conversation or any dialogue with Coach. And so, like, if it's anything like past experiences, yeah, this would be very businesslike. I remember meeting, you know, Coach K in 19, and it was very businesslike. It was a quick little handshake pregame, very complimentary afterwards. But and that's going to be the same. Like, this is awesome, Dom. Like, we are extremely excited for a lot of reasons. But make no mistake about it. You know, 3:05 Central Standard Time, Thursday afternoon. It'll be all business for the Bison.
So on tomorrow, you get a media session, and then you actually have a quick shoot around. Do you actually get what the floor looks like in the arena and all that tomorrow? Correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Again, Cameron Greer does such a great job of organizing us, moving us, and I'll have to sit with Cam and get some logistical things about it. And my job is to kind of be present and sit with Cam in some other situations. And, we're getting close to the airport here, and we'll get out there, get settled in, and focus on the day and get squared away for some, you know, clearly there's some, you know, obligations, from a media standpoint that we'll need to tackle. But the primary focus will be, again, moving us forward so we're the best version of ourselves Thursday afternoon.
All right, last thing before I let you go, and I appreciate you doing this, was there a phone call you got from either national media that you, hey, oh, wow, that's pretty good, that you had over the last week and a half?
I would say it's probably this one right here. This has been a complete honor. And to be on this here this morning with everything that's going on, and for you to think of us like this is it right here.
See, that's the best answer. I appreciate that. Safe travels, my man. I appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.
Dom, I mean this. We appreciate you. There's a lot of national things going on, but the loyalty, that you guys have showed us, and the partnership that WDAY has with NDSU means a ton to us. So thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, bud. Safe travels and good luck. All right.
Take care. Thank you.
There he goes, David Richman joining us, North Dakota State men's basketball head coach. Bison getting ready for a plane trip out to Buffalo, New York, Western New York, and a matchup with Michigan State coming up on Thursday. And our plane is actually leaving here in just a little bit. McFeely will be on, and he's going to be on in a little bit. Jeff Kolpak, Riley Swenson will be going out. I am not on the way out there. We've got our women's basketball invitational tournament. We'll give you some TV info on that. We are going to be producing the game. We can't televise the game. It's exclusive to ESPN+, but it'll be our crew and our announcers, myself and Amy, really be calling the game for the Bison in Chattanooga coming up on Thursday night. So that's where I will be. And obviously it's too bad. I would love to have a chance. I did an interview with Chris Solari from the Detroit Free Press yesterday because he found out about the Izzo connection. And it's not going to work out this week, which is too bad. But because I know I have a bunch of buddies that live in the Buffalo area. It'd be nice to get a chance to see them as well. And frankly, be that close to home is always a neat deal. But that being said, our coverage will be nonstop, and Riley's going to do a dynamite job. Starting later tonight, I believe we'll have our first reports back from KeyBank Arena in downtown Buffalo for the matchup with Michigan State. Everybody right now seems like Michigan State is I can't even say a sleeper Final Four pick because Izzo normally gets his team. So weird to see my last name, by the way. Normally gets his team primed and makes a deep run. I was just looking at some different upset projections. Everybody's on some different teams here. McNeese seems to be one. They won last year in their opening round. South Florida is in that same bracket with North Dakota State. South Florida Louisville plays the first game in Buffalo on Thursday afternoon. They think that's a potential one. Hofstra potentially. High Point's another one. Here's the unique part, by the way. of the bracket in Buffalo, and I didn't even realize this till last night, because Michigan State is there and Michigan is there as well, which is going to be, attendance-wise, will be really, really a big deal. There is the potential tonight's game, because the first four starts tonight. Remember, North Dakota State was in this 7 years ago. The Bison beat North Carolina Central to go get a date with Duke. Tonight, the University of Maryland, Baltimore County is playing Howard. Howard's nickname is the Bison. And if they win, they go to Buffalo as well. So you could have the Bison and the Bison. But there's another story just waiting to be told right there, if Howard is able to win against the Retrievers of Maryland, Baltimore County coming up tonight. So you've got all that laid out in front. So going to be fantastic. Looking forward to seeing our coverage get going later today. I'm interested to see the other game tonight is Texas and North Carolina State. Those games on True TV. This is likely the last year of the first four. If everything we're hearing out of the NCAA, they're moving to 76. So this is going to look vastly different next year, where there will be 4 games on this day, likely at noon on a Tuesday, which feels differently. 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow is how at least it's been approached, that how they do it. That will look different. I'm sure people will be excited for it, but it ain't going to mean more of Summit League teams going to get in there, more MAC teams or more Horizon and Big Sky teams getting in. No, you're going to have a bunch of middling SEC and Big 10 and Big 12 teams playing on this day. You ain't going to get more Maryland, Baltimore County, and Howard, I can tell you that. We have a packed show. We already got it started. We appreciate Dave joining us right off the hop. He normally joins us at 10, but they're going to be airborne by then. 9:35, our guy Mike McFeely will be here. He's also going to be airborne as part of our foreign communications crew heading to Buffalo. We'll chat plenty on the Bison matchup with Michigan State. We're also going to talk about David as well. That's coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, Joi Anderson will join us, the head coach of the top-ranked and number 1 seed in Class B boys basketball, the Central McLean Cougars. They have been number 1 all year long in Class B. They take the number 1 seed to Minot. They will open up play on Thursday night. We'll preview that coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, it could be a big night again for Minnesota Duluth basketball. The women's basketball team clinched a spot in the Elite Eight last night. The men can do it with a win tonight. Justin Wieck will join us from Topeka as Duluth has a matchup with another team nicknamed the Bisons, Oklahoma Baptist. They are the Bisons as well. We'll preview that. Duluth has already knocked off the number 1 seed on their home floor in Washburn. Then last night they beat St. Cloud State again. The Huskies are the team they beat in the NSIC Tournament Championship, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago tonight in Sioux Falls. Now they got a chance to go back to the Elite. They're the 8 seed, much like the Duluth women were, and have a chance to make it to the Elite Eight. Another reminder, folks, if you need it, how good the Northern Sun is every year in basketball, both on the men's and women's side. So Wieck will join us at 10:35 to wrap things up. So a lot to get to here on a busy Tuesday morning. We'll break. We come back. Speaking of those Duluth women, we'll show you what happened. A thriller last night in Mankato to get them to the Elite Eight. We're just getting started. Hot Mike returns right after this. Welcome back here, everybody, on a busy Tuesday show, off and rolling. Don't forget, we've got our final 2 tournaments of the calendar year for basketball beginning Thursday in Fargo and in Minot. The Class B returns, of course, to Minot. You can watch the quarterfinals on WDAY beginning at 1 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. The A is at the Fargo Dome. Those games will be here on Extra beginning at 1 o'clock on Thursday. Should be another dynamic week of tournament coverage beginning on WDAY and WDAY Extra on Thursday. You can stream everything as well on WDAY+. I was looking as well, you mentioned with Dave off the top, each team has media obligations and a practice that will happen tomorrow. In Buffalo, because the Bison are the second game out of the chute, South Florida, Louisville will go first. The Bison are scheduled to meet with the media at about 10:50 Central Time tomorrow. So we'll get maybe just a little bit of that before we wrap up Hot Mic tomorrow, live in Buffalo with the Bison players. Then Dave has a scheduled session at 11:05, so that'll happen after we're off the air. We'll be able to get you that, though, probably actually for our 11 a.m. show tomorrow morning as well. And then their practice is right after that, about 11:50, I want to say, that they're on the floor Central Time in Buffalo for about 40 minutes. And that's all they get. Then it's time for the game coming up on Thursday. So we'll give you a little snippet of that. Michigan State doesn't hit till well after we're off the air. Tom Izzo is available at 11:50 a.m., so that will come after we're done. But we'll probably get a little bit of that during Bison Pro Day, I imagine, because we'll be live up there. And we got that going on Thursday as well. I tweeted this out because I mentioned it yesterday. Then I just had to put it down in actual to see it in black and white. But Thursday has to be one of the busiest sports days in recent memory that we have. We have the Bison game with Michigan State. The Bison women play that night against Chattanooga in the WBIT. The Class A tips off at the Fargo Dome. The B begins in Minot. Bison Pro Day, where I think I've been told that every NFL team is going to be here. And then the NCAA Wrestling Championships begin that day as well, where NDSU has 5 guys wrestling in Cleveland. Other than that, we got nothing going on. I mean, we could the news is an hour at 6 o'clock. We could fill it without any hesitation. We could do that on Thursday. So here's an early appeal that we need more time in sports on Thursday. A lot going on. I mentioned it before we went to break. Shout out to former Cobber, longtime Duluth head coach Mandy Pearson, Minnesota Duluth's women's basketball team. We featured them and the men on our best of the weekend yesterday. Well, they just keep on winning. The Duluth women, who knocked off Mankato on Friday, was the number 1 seed on their home floor. Then won again, actually destroyed Central Missouri in their second game. They got a rematch with another Northern Sun team last night in Mankato. This time it was Concordia St. Paul, who they had lost to at the NSIC tournament. Well, last night there was no stopping the Bulldogs last night in a game that was fantastic. Went 2 overtimes in Mankato against Concordia St. Paul, a team that was 26-7 on the year. Bulldogs made some late shots, including one, this in double overtime with just underway, about 30 seconds in. This a big-time 3 from Maria Counts. She went for 25 last night. That was the sealer, and the Bulldogs are off to the Elite Eight in Pittsburgh. 94-87, the final, to send them off to the Elite Eight. Remember, they had a great run just a few years ago. You see there's Mandy Pearson cutting the nets down last night. Congratulations to the Bulldogs. Who says they're just a hockey school? They're fine, but man, they are awfully good in basketball. We mentioned we'll have Justin Wieck on coming up later on. The Duluth men on the doorstep of going to the Elite Eight as well, if they're able to win against Oklahoma Baptist tonight. But congrats to the Bulldog women. They got 3 players with 20 points or more and got the ultimate payback, against an NSIC rival. Team that had beaten them in Sioux Falls, they end up getting over the hump and knocking them off last night in Mankato, which had to feel doubly sweet. Mankato had rolled through everybody this year. Bulldogs got them in the quarterfinals and then beat another NSIC team. Again, as I mentioned, going to break, it's just another affirmation of that league, which I hope we pay enough attention to it on this show. I think people around the area that certainly watch our program certainly know, from Minot to Concordia St. Paul and all parts in between, how good that league is. Another reminder there last night. What I was watching last night was the semifinals at the World Baseball Classic. So to set it up, the United States won. We showed you that yesterday in their victory over the Dominican Republic. Still a controversial final out call. It wasn't a strike. The United States sitting there waiting for the winner of Venezuela and the Italians. Now, Italy had already beaten the Americans earlier in the tournament. So if they were able to get by the high-powered Venezuelan team, get a rematch for the championship. But Venezuela has been buoyed by, A, some amazing players, B, a crowd that has been absolutely unruly since this tournament began. Let's show you what happened last night, again in Miami, which was a rockin' last night. Crowd over 35,000. The Marlins would love to get 20,000 in the building. Luis Ariz plays for the Venezuela team here. In the top of the first, he lines out into a double play. That's some heads-up defense there that gets the Italians out of a jam. It's a 2-1 Italy lead. Bottom of the sixth. The bases are loaded. Big-time strikeout there. Ends the inning. Keeps it 2-1. Same score. Runners on the corners in the seventh. Ronald Acuna Jr. hits one in the infield. He'll beat this out. That will score the tying run. And again, the party was on. It's a 2-all game. Maikel Garcia is the next batter up. He plays for the Kansas City Royals. This is laced to left off Michael Lorenzen, who also pitches for the Royals. That gets the go-ahead run into score. It's a 3-2 Venezuela lead. Next hitter is Ariz. You know he hits the ball well. Why can't the Twins find players like him? That in the perfect spot. That Acuna scores. It's a 4-2 lead. Danny Palencia is the closer for the Cubs. In. Gets the strikeout to end it. Venezuela, for the first time, will play in the World Baseball Classic. They got Salvi Perez on their roster. They are a really talented team. They will play the Americans tonight after a 4-2 win last night. So that's tonight, 7 o'clock on Fox, Venezuela and the United States to wrap up the World Baseball Classic. By virtue of them winning, Venezuela has guaranteed them spot and in the Olympic Games as well. We don't know if the major leaguers are going to be allowed to play. That's going to be collectively bargained at the end of this baseball season, but I think everybody has seen that when it's best on best, like we saw in the hockey tournament, the Olympics, it's pretty darn good stuff. Let's break. We come back. Our guy Mike McFeely waiting in the wings, getting ready. Speaking of wings, he's got an airplane to catch. The Bison are heading to Buffalo. We'll chat with Mike about the matchup with Michigan State and much more when Hot Mike returns after this.
Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
Yeah. It is that time on a Tuesday at 9:35. The tweet went out last night with the bat signal. Content for Tuesday's Hot Mic with Dom Izzo. A spare in the 10th for a 200 even score. Which is shorter, my bowling backswing or my golf backswing, Mr. McFeely? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Very exciting last night at Sunset Lanes.
Was this like to wrap it up, or was this like the middle of the night last night for your, in terms of like how many?
This was my second game.
Okay, second.
Yes, but our good friend Greg McCullough decided we needed video of this because I needed to pick up this spare.
And you did,
to
though,
get
man.
200 even.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
And that's right in the corner. That's not an easy spare to get.
It was touch and go there for a while.
Not even a fist pump, nothing?
No.
Pretty workmanlike out of that.
Act like you've been there before.
Clearly.
I mean, you know, I'm not one of those guys who's going to drop the ball before I cross the goal line. I'm not one of those guys. And so you'll notice my hashtag, by the way, born to bowl.
Yes.
Do you know about this?
I don't think I do.
There is a documentary on HBO about bowling.
Really?
And the name of it is
Born to Bowl?
Wow,
I have to check that
and
out.
So my night yesterday was get done with work, spend 2 hours with my mental coach ahead of bowling, prepare, go see my physical therapist an hour before.
Get the arm ready.
Yep, arm, back, legs. As you can see in this video, I'm very flexible and very athletic looking.
Like Gumby out there.
Looks like Frankenstein. Look at this. Let's break down this bowl. I mean, look at this. I told McCullough, he said, I got video of you. Do you want it? I go, do I want to see it? Because you always imagine, like I imagine I look like
graceful,
like Dick Weber or something, you know. And I've seen video of my golf swing. And it's like I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But for the benefit of you and our ratings,
I appreciate that. I mean, everybody loves that.
Yep.
So you're saying you thought the backswing was more elegant than what it actually ended up being?
Yes. And notice how if you actually watch real bowlers, their left knee bends, and they get down low to the surface of the lane.
You're not doing
and
that.
I'm just like Frankenstein up there, Peter Boyle in Young Frankenstein. So just not a lot of motion there.
Man.
I just envisioned something different.
You know what? Results are all that matters. Doesn't how to look. You got it.
You know,
all that matters.
that's what my teammate John Matter always tells me. The box score doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't,
you picked it up.
Yeah, it's 200, and it doesn't matter what it looks like.
Did you guys win?
We did okay.
There you go.
Okay. But yes, so sorry.
Again, results matter.
I got sidetracked as always because my brain is going 8 different directions. So there's a weekly half-hour documentary on HBO called Born to Bowl. And so yesterday, after I went through my mental coach, went through the physical therapy beforehand, I bowled. I had to do the post-game, cool down. The ice bath. Yeah. I have an ice bath out in my garage. So when I get done bowling, I sink in the ice bath just to kind of cool things down. I don't want the muscle. I don't want like an Achilles
Don't want
tear.
that. No, can't have that.
I saw Jason Tatum go down. I go, kind of a good comp there, me and Jason Tatum.
Yes, you guys A and B, I think of you too.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And so after that, I went and watched the first episode of Born to Bowl on HBO, and it's
pretty good.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they focus in the first episode on a guy named Kyle Troop, and if you want to have your guys look up a photo of Kyle, it's a real person with real everything.
Okay.
And I did not know this guy existed before I watched this, but Ben Stiller did it. The documentary, and it says it's out of love, but it's kind of condescending and kind of
really
like it's they're kind of making
looking
fun
down
of it.
on bowlers.
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think a little bit. Yeah.
All right. Huh.
And so it's
I'll check it out.
See the one in the upper row,
Eric Survey.
fourth from the left, Eric, with the hair picks. Fourth from the left. There you go. That one. Show that one on the TV screen here. Can we do that? Hello?
Yeah, it's coming. They got to center it up.
So anyway,
it's coming. It's
so
coming.
okay. So the other part of this is, and
this is a real guy.
Yes.
2021 PBA Player of the Year.
Yes, and he won the U.S. Open in 2024, like the U.S. Bowling Open, not the golf.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's got the same shirt, the Storm.
His nickname is the Pro with the Fro, and he carries hair picks in his back pocket.
So after my God.
I'm not joking. This is a real thing. I did not know. He carries hair picks, as you can see there, in his back pocket. And notice how we are both sponsored by Storm Bowling.
Yes.
And when he does like a great throw or gets a strike, he'll whip out the hair picks and then pick at his hair. That's like his taunt. That's like his,
in your face,
in your
trash
face.
talk.
Yeah, it's his trash talk as he takes out hair picks. It's fantastic.
Wow. And they feature this guy in the first
episode.
In the first
one, yes. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Wow.
Now, one of the guys, and we got to move on here, his name is Cameron Crowe. I didn't know
Not
this
the
until
film
last
director?
night. No.
Okay.
A bowler. I was talking about this with the guys last night at bowling. Turns out Cameron Crowe, last week, got picked up for having marijuana and cocaine in his vehicle.
Oh.
So, but he's also part of it, featured on one of these episodes.
Wow.
So, the dark under, as my wife said, the seedy white underbelly of the Pro Bowling Tour. Yes.
Wow. All right, so there it is. I'll have to check it out.
It's very
Pretty
exciting.
good.
Very
All
exciting.
Right.
The Pro with the Fro. That's just fantastic.
You need a nickname like that for bowling.
Well, I can't have a fro.
Not the fro part.
Not enough there to have a fro. Speaking of fro, true story. This is absolutely true story. I had a good friend of mine in college, was at Morehead State. And this was in the early to mid 80s, our freshman year at Morehead State.
Okay.
And that was still a time when guys were still getting perms to have little fros and stuff.
Yep.
So this guy, I'm not going to say his name, but so he's a ladies' man. He's
popular.
He was okay. He was popular with the ladies.
Okay.
So he gets a perm for some reason, and his hair is kind of puffy. He goes to a class, the first day of class, and the professor goes, "Did everybody get a syllabus? Does anybody need a syllabus?" And a guy next to my friend, honest to God, says, "She didn't get one."
Oh, jeez.
And he went, "Oh." So he did, he literally thought my buddy was a woman.
Oh my God,
because of his perm.
Oh my God. Jeez.
He did not go back to that class.
It was done.
He just dropped. Oh yeah. Hey. Okay, Eric, go ahead.
Oh no.
Put up the video. This is not my friend. This is Kyle Troop. Watch.
Okay.
Watch. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes. Yep. And he's also obviously his dad. This guy's dad was a colorful bowler in like the 1970s and 80s.
All right.
Who was known for his color. Look at this. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Like Oscar Gamble. Remember him in baseball?
I do.
But this guy's dad was a.
Well, he's no Big Ern McCracken. Like he actually had some flair.
But they obviously stole
Clearly.
the character of Big Ern McCracken from this guy's dad. This guy's dad was a famous bowler in the 70s and 80s, wore colorful outfits, and was a character.
Yeah. My gosh.
Oh, who knew?
Nobody.
Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't know. You broke my brain on that. Kyle Troop, apparently.
Yeah,
the
there
guy.
he goes. There he goes. It's fantastic. Oh.
You know what? Let's break.
How do we come back
we
from
can't.
that?
Look at that. That is, wow. That is some outfit, I'll tell you that.
Look at that.
And he keeps him
Oh,
on him.
yeah.
That is, wow.
And look at the guy getting up next to him.
Yeah.
He's also a pro athlete.
The pinnacle of athleticism right there. Right? Jeez. Okay, let's break. We come back. Can we talk some basketball? We come back.
Sure.
We can do more. We can do more of this. That's fine.
I think we've driven away all the viewers, so we're fine.
Let's do that. We'll talk some Bison head to the NCAA tournament. Much more on Kyle Troop, our guy. Back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Kyle Troop hour. If you missed our last segment,
need to get him on.
You need to do that. Can you facilitate that with your bowling connections? Can you make that
absolutely.
happen?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Mike McFeely joining us here for a few more minutes. You got an airplane to catch. You're heading to lovely Buffalo, New York here in just a little bit.
Yes, yeah, it's exciting. It's good to see North Dakota State get back to the tournament. It's been a while, and it's good to get people's minds off the football stuff for a while, including myself and yourself and Kolpak, and just a little different twist and a level of excitement.
All right, so I had been bugging you for about 4 straight days with different bracketology that came out.
Yes.
So
you and I took up a lot of bandwidth with the bracketology.
So they end up being a 14, which I think was a bit of a surprise considering just how the results end up going. But be that as it may, they knew they were going to get a really quality team. It ends up being one of the bluest of bloods in Michigan State that they're going to play.
Yeah, and that's interesting that I wrote about it on Sunday, but they've played against Kansas and not Dave Richman, but the program played against Kansas and Bill Self, Gonzaga and Mark Few, Lon Kruger and Oklahoma. And as I wrote, he's probably the stiff of the bunch. It's Lon Kruger.
Yes.
He's like a Hall of Fame
Yes.
coach that got to like 4 tournaments with 4 different programs or some crazy thing. Mike Krzyzewski, and now Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good.
Right.
And part of it is, as you said, when you're a 14 or a 15 or a 16 or even a 13, you're not, you're just not going to play another mid-major in the first round. But what was interesting was I watched Izzo's press conference yesterday, and the media and the fan sites and stuff in East Lansing, they're all, as they should be with a program at that
Looking
level.
beyond?
No.
Oh.
They are nitpicking. Tell me if this is familiar. Because they're one of the best programs in the country every single year. And so the fan base and the media are nitpicking the fact that Michigan State lost to UCLA.
The Big Ten tournament.
In the Big Ten tournament. And what went wrong and how did that happen? And were they overlooking UCLA because they wanted the rematch with Michigan, blah, 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 blah. And now the talk now is, well, if you look in there, and this is a loaded bracket.
Oh, my gosh.
So even if NDSU wins this one, folks, their path to the Final Four is really hard with UConn and
St. John's is there,
John's
and somebody called Duke
and
is there,
Ohio State and Duke and Michigan. All these different schools are in the East region. But so that's the talk, and so Tom Izzo is saying, well, it's like, yeah, we're aware of who's in our bracket,
Right.
but we have to get 2 wins this weekend first. And then he says, North Carolina State's really a quality program.
What?
Yes.
North Carolina State?
It was just a slip of the tongue.
Oh, my. Yeah, he got it right later.
He's looking at his sheet going, and Dave Richman has been to the tournament, I guess, with 4 programs?
Yes.
No. And then their guard, Damari Thomas Wheeler, is leading their scoring 13 points a game. So they're giving up 8. They get 8 steals a game, and so they play some defense. And he goes, I really don't know anything about North Dakota State at this point. I will know more in the next couple of days.
He'll speak glowingly about them tomorrow when you have a chance to go to the press conference tomorrow.
Like they always do.
Yes. Then it's a total, wow, the light bulb comes on and they
what
find
a
out.
program, what a history,
Great
what a
tradition.
Dave
right?
Richman, what a coach.
What do we make of, have you checked out a little bit? The only game of Michigan State I saw, they lost to the Gophers, which granted Minnesota picked off a couple teams this year. That was the only time I've seen the Spartans play.
Maybe the best dunker in all of basketball. Kid can jump out. Somebody at bowling last night was telling you got to see this guy in person. I'm like, honestly, I've not watched a Michigan State game. I'm just being honest. I've not watched a Michigan State game.
You're a great Summit League mind.
Yes, I'd much rather watch Kansas City and Earl Roberts. But they have some athletes, as you would expect. They're big and strong.
Yes.
And I saw the Athletic listed one of their kids as one of the top 10 players in the country. And I got to look up his name. I apologize. Jeremy Fears Jr. Yeah. And so it's a tall task, but I was on a Michigan State podcast yesterday, and I just said, Michigan State's favored by 15 or 16,
as they should be.
As you would expect. It's it's Michigan State against NDSU.
Correct.
It's not NDSU against SDSU. It's
Right.
Michigan State, Michigan freaking State against NDSU.
Yep.
But if you stay in the game until the second half,
correct. You were there. You covered that Oklahoma game. I mean, exactly how the Bison were down 3 with 2 minutes to go, and LA hits 2 threes.
But what I keep saying, and what I told this kid yesterday, because he brought up that game, I said the difference. It was 12 years ago.
It was.
So it has nothing to do with what's going on today. But I said the formula there was NDSU was extremely veteran, and the best. I think the best mid-major team they've had at NDSU was that one, and they won a game to prove it.
They did.
But the flip side of that is Oklahoma was really inexperienced. And if you rewatch that, they made a lot of mistakes in the last 2 minutes.
Well, Buddy Hield was a freshman.
A true freshman.
That year for Oklahoma.
They had a bad turnover. They had a bad shot.
How you upset a team like that.
Right, and that's my point, is that they made mistakes to allow NDSU to tie. And NDSU also got the big 3 by Lawrence Alexander, which is skill, but it's also, it was a tough 3
shot.
with the shot clock running down. Then in overtime, Carlin Dupree, who
as a freshman
hadn't played, and
not
was
a second,
12% from the free throw line in the season, makes 2 free throws in overtime of the NCAA tournament, and had a layup as well.
Yep.
And so it's
in overtime.
Yes. So a lot of things went right in that game for NDSU to have the chance to do that. And to their credit, they did it, and it lives on in lore.
I've got. We talked about this in the break, and that's why I brought it up to you, because I've got 2 or 3 emails knowing. I think fans or viewers of our program understand that there's going to be some movement of the Bison roster after the year, but they keep asking me and want your opinion as well about Dave Richman's future. Dave has a year left on his contract, as we know. After this season is done, is that a potential that David could move on?
Well, and I'll say this. I have not talked to Dave about it. I've not talked to Matt Larson about it. I just haven't. I was going to wait until this time of the year to kind of see what was going on. But a couple things. If you think about it logically, if there was a time for him to want to move on, and I don't know that he wants to. I want to make that clear. I don't know what his thoughts are. I don't know. But if there was a time for him to do that, pretty tough to have a better year than 27 wins, 14-2 in the Summit League, and you roll through the Summit League tournament pretty much unscathed. Unscathed in terms of other than a run by UND late in the game.
Right, correct.
The games were pretty much in hand.
They dominated the first 2 games, absolutely.
Yep. And so if you're looking at it, if he wants to do something, this would be the time for him to. His stock is never going to be higher. and it's in the portal era now. So he's shown he can, build a roster through the portal year to year.
Yep.
And it's 27 wins is a record.
Yes.
And NDSU basketball has been around for when Naismith
say 100
invented
years,
the game 100 years, and so 27 wins is notable.
Yep.
And so the other thing you have to look at, excuse me, is what jobs are open.
Yes.
And I know Northern Illinois was open. That has now been, I think,
filled.
somebody else has taken that job.
Yeah.
So he's not. If he wanted to move on, he's not going to get the Arizona State job.
No.
I know that one's open.
Or Cincinnati.
He's not going to get the Cincinnati job.
Right.
That one's open.
Air Force is open, Michael. That's a Mountain West job. Guy who coached Denver had that job. What do you make of that one? I just got that email to me.
Yeah, that's intriguing. But I don't know what they're looking for. But that would sort of fit Dave's vibe.
Correct.
Like he would like to have fewer transfers. And
that's certainly the case at Air Force.
And the discipline and the culture and all of that stuff. Dave isn't and I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but he's not a guy that's going to sacrifice his principles.
No.
To do things just to win games. He's going to win games a certain way, and he does it the right way, like coaches. But he does.
Yep.
And so that means
the only other one I saw that would maybe be Western Michigan, which we talked about the MAC when we were in commercial.
Yeah, I mean the MAC, the Mountain West, and the Missouri Valley would probably be the three leagues where you'd look at.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Your name's got to be out there too.
The chatter in basketball coaches has not ramped up yet.
No, it's gonna.
And it's not as much as it is in the football world. That's just the agents in football are feeding this stuff to
the insiders, the media insiders. Yep.
To
Pete Thamel,
Goodman and Thamel and those guys.
Yep.
At 1,000 miles, the agents can't get these guys in their phone quick enough.
Right, can't get the names out there.
To get those guys' names out there quick enough.
Correct.
And that hasn't happened yet in basketball.
Be fun to see. I'm excited to see what happens on Thursday. It's just it's the NCAA basketball term's a different deal, man. There's just more eyeballs on it.
There is, and I think NDSU is going to play well and I don't think it's not going to be like 17 points in the first 12 minutes. I think NDSU is going to hang in there, and the question is whether they can score enough points.
Well, heck, they hung in there with Duke for the first half. You were at that game, right? And then Duke turned it on in the second half.
If NDSU is going to win, it's going to be 61-60.
Right.
It's not going to be 85-84. It's going to be, Michigan State. I don't think is. NDSU is going to maybe have a tough time getting to 60.
Maybe. Maybe Michigan State long and how they defend.
Play defense and the way they trap and things like that. So, but again, I don't think NDSU is going to go out there and just fall behind 10-0 right off the jump.
And they didn't shoot the ball well at all in Sioux Falls. The 3 games down there, they did not.
And if Tay Smith goes on a heater, if he gets free and goes on a heater and makes 6 or 7 threes like he did at Oral Roberts, then then that's the formula there. If Michigan State is disinterested and looking ahead to Duke or Michigan, and NDSU can have it be a 7-point game with 5 minutes to go. I mean, that would be
ideal.
Dave Richman would fast forward in time right now.
Absolutely.
And just say, okay, last 5 minutes,
let's go.
We're 3 possessions down, let's go.
You would get a Bill Self recreation of the 2009 Ben Woodside chatter that you and I heard that one.
Yeah.
We can't repeat that on the air, but that was pretty good. With couldn't defend.
How can we stop this bleeping guy?
That was
fantastic.
Ben Woodside.
Like right here. How did we get those seats?
I don't know. It was fantastic.
The table was courtside back in those days.
The old Metrodome, right? You won't be that close.
Self has got one hand on the table about 2 feet away from me. Woodside makes another 3, and Self looks at his assistants and goes, boom! How can we stop this bleeping guy? His assistants are all scrambling like this with their whiteboards to find
something out.
Some idea.
They never did.
It was fantastic.
Oh, safe travels, bud, to Western New York. All right, have a blast.
You betcha.
Mike McFeely joins us each and every Tuesday. He and Jeff and Riley Swensel will be out there for the Foreign Communications coverage later tonight from lovely Buffalo. We'll start hour 2 of Hot Mike on this Tuesday morning. We'll do it right after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 of Hot Mike, ready to rock and roll as we look ahead to Thursday, which is like the ultimate sports day we have in our region. We talked plenty on the Bison. We've got the Class A tournament opening in Fargo. The Class B starts in Minot. The Ray Jays will lead it off at 1 o'clock with North Star. These games are live on WDAY. Our Redeemers and Bishop Bryan. That'll be the Battle of Minot private schools happening at about 2:45. The last game, Midway Minto and MPB, Medina Pingree Buchanan. But the first game of the evening session features Nelson County and the number 1 seed, Central McLean, the Cougars. That's the co-op of Turtle Lake, Mercer, Underwood, and McCluskey. I remember when Turtle Lake, Mercer, and McCluskey made it to the B a few years ago. Now it's all under one banner under Central McLean. Their head coach is Joi Anderson, who joins us here on this Tuesday morning. Coach, it's great to see you. Congratulations on getting there. Now it's reality. What's it like here getting ready a couple days out from the tournament?
Well, actually, it's kind of a relief finally to make it. I mean, it's kind of a tough schedule to get here, and you need a little luck, and your kids have to play at the right time. And right now, our last game that we played pretty well. So hopefully it's going to continue for 3 more games. You have had either been number 1 or close to number 1 all year. How have the guys handled that, knowing there's pressure there built in as the season's gone along? Well, we talk about it all the time. I mean, it depends on who you play, and a lot of times, and we played some pretty tough games to start the season out, so that kind of set the tempo for us right away. And like I said before, I made comments about, you can walk around and say that you're a pretty good ball club, but you have to prove it. And, I've told them at the beginning here, we did prove it that we were a pretty good ball club, but we have to keep improving. And I think we've done that so far. When did you have a sense that you got a team that can maybe do something special? Well, last year we talked about it. I even told the kids when the season started last year that I said, you guys have a chance to make it to state, but, we got to keep improving. We got to keep having a good attitude. It's the most important thing, I think. And we did. We just kept on winning. Like I said, we were like 4th in our district last year, and we ended up taking a district tournament, taking 2nd in the regional. And then, of course, you always have those play-in games, which, like I always say, is that's just like the state tournament. I mean, they could have a Sweet 16 instead of 8, so. The pressure of dealing with that, how much did that help for this year's team after what happened last year? Well, I think, just being a little bit more mature one more year makes a big difference. And the game is so physical nowadays, and I think that was our downfall last year. It's kind of hard to teach kids to be physical. They just don't quite understand that part until they get older, and then it kind of falls into place with them. And I think that's a big thing that happened this year, is that we could just handle the physical part of the game and not drop our heads when things didn't go right. You mentioned the schedule that you've played. You beat Ray earlier, who's obviously there. You've played some teams that obviously had really good years. How much did that, quote unquote, toughen you up for what's to come starting on Thursday night? Well, it basically teaches when you play teams like that you can't take a break. I mean, it's offense to defense, it's full court, it's man pressure, it's sometimes a zone pressure. You got to realize you got to react to some of maybe the lazy zone where you're wide open to shoot the ball. So when you play a good team like that can basically play the whole game, it gets you started saying that, hey, we have to work on this or work on that, and I think we did that this year. How difficult is it to bring everybody under one umbrella together? You got guys from every single, 4 or 5 different towns. Describe the unique challenge that comes with that. It is. A lot of people don't realize. They think it's kind of good to have, kids from different towns and stuff like that. But it's hard. It is hard to put it together. Yeah. You always got the parents that come with that, and different ideas, more different philosophies and stuff like that. But we do a lot in the summertime. I kind of push, open gym. We do it once or twice a week for sure. If I get like 8 or 10 kids, we'll have open gyms for them. So they do play a lot of basketball together, and being dedicated kind of brings that together. And I think that helps a lot. I remember Turtle Lake, Mercer, McCluskey going in 2017. How much you bank on that experience? I know it's almost a decade ago, but can you use that at all or no? Well, I think it's just the idea that, maybe we haven't been there for a while, so it's about, it's time to get there again. And I do talk about that team because that team was not what you call the most, how do you say it, without being so mean. They were just, they were a good ball club. They played well together at times, but they also struggled at times too, and it was more of a shock the way the state tournament is played, being so physical and rough and things like that, compared to this year. Hopefully a little bit more prepared for that. To have this whole year be unbeaten, and now you're there at state, how much is there added spotlight, certainly attention, you're number 1, that
you've got an unbeaten record going to the Class B tournament. How do you handle that? Because I'm sure the guys understand it that you haven't lost a game.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could throw that out the window. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'd rather go in with 7-8 losses, But I just keep telling them, the record means nothing. You got to go out and play 32 minutes or overtimes or whatever it takes. If you choose not to sprint down the floor, you might give up a couple buckets. Yeah. And if you don't plan on sprint down, cover a 3-pointer. Nowadays, a 3-pointer is like shooting free throws for most kids. I said you got to cover them. Stop the penetration. Take baselines away, and front guys, and you got to do all the little things to win ball games, rebounds, and I keep telling them that.
Last week, you won the Region 4 title. You beat Wilton Wing, who obviously went to state last year. Describe that night, winning the region championship and knowing you were going to the state tournament. What was that like?
Well, Wilton Wing's got a tremendous group of kids. They got a great coach over there. They always bring it. You definitely can't lay down. You got to play all 32 minutes against them, and they got shooters, big kid, ball handlers. Ursley's a heck of a ball player over there, and we match up with them real well, and they match up with us real well. And we hit some main 3-pointers during the game, and that kind of gives you that 10-point lead, and we held on to it. So.
The celebration afterwards, was there a sense of relief, I guess? Maybe you made state first time, and what was that like for you personally after the game?
Yeah, it's been a long week. We didn't play real well the first 2 games, so we were due to play a good game finally, and we actually did. And there's been a lot of pressure on me this year. It's probably the most I've ever had. I mean, it's like you just take it home with you and you get up with it, and you think an adult could probably brush it off, but it kind of hangs with you.
How have you handled that? Knowing and the pressure ramps up every game, and now here you are at state, and you still haven't lost.
Well, like my goals are basically to tell the kids is just make it to the regional tournament, because good teams can make it, poor teams can make it, average teams can make it. It just takes somebody to have a bad game and you to have a good game, and I keep telling them that once you make it to the regionals, anything can happen, and
Give us a couple of your standout players, guys, you're going to be counting on come Thursday night if you guys want to win this thing.
Well, that's one thing about it. I have a pretty good group. I got 5 really good starters. Of course, Aiden Hansen is probably the leader on there. He basically kind of controls everything. He runs everything. He's not afraid to take a second place against somebody else and let somebody else go score and light it up or get fast breaks or whatever. He's just a unique ball player. And then I got Brittenbach, basically, he loves to shoot threes. He has no distance, doesn't bother him. He eyes it in and he lets it fly. And of course, my always pet peeve is, you stand at the 3-point line and shoot it, but it's kind of like, I can back up and I'm wide open,
Right.
So he's good at it. And basically the rest of the guys are, they all can handle the ball well. They can run backdoor cuts. They can sprint down the floor. They all play a pretty good defense. So. And I think the big thing for us to be successful this year is to play good defense, because the games are so physical and low-scoring games.
Tell us, what do you know about Nelson County? That's who you got, and how much you've been trying to find out since they qualified on Saturday.
Well, they're a big group of kids. They got some big kids in there. They like to post up a lot. They play man-to-man. They can shoot the 3-pointers. They play the whole ball game. They play a little bit of zone. So I love playing a zone. I'm old-fashioned, so that's right up my alley. So everybody tells me you can't play a zone, but I like a zone still. So
it's working, right? Then why change, right?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Got to keep changing little things, give them different ideas,
Getting, we were talking off air about the trip to Minot. You're going to do that tomorrow. The anticipation of getting on the bus and going to the Minot State Dome, which is what everybody wants to be this time of year.
Yeah, it's exciting for the kids, with the schools around or the towns around us, you get a lot of support from them, and which is really good, because, a lot of times in the regional tournaments, it gets kind of quiet with your support, because we had to drive all the way to Killdeer for it. Oof. So you kind of lose a lot of the support, which kind of hurts, people don't realize that, but even some of my kids says, "Jeepers, coach, there's nobody here," which is kind of a bad thing, but that's just the way it works out sometimes. So I think they're looking forward to all the excitement. They'll have a big pep rally for them, and all the kids will be there. So
to have the first, and you're playing at 6:30, it's a normal time. I know some don't like that 1 o'clock game. You okay with it's a normal time when we normally play a 6:30 game on Thursday night?
Yeah, that was one good thing about being ranked number one. That kind of helped us in that, get in that position, because in the old days, basically, you always wanted to win that first game so you could get that night game and be back to normal again. So, I mean, it means a lot to play in the afternoon like that.
So
or in the evening, I mean.
When I guess for our last question here, you anticipate a ton of people going to be there, and just getting out there, shoot around on Thursday for the guys to look around and say, all right, we're here. How do you take, I guess, the awe moment out of that and just, hey, it's basketball. We got to get ready for that tonight.
Well, I always go back to back when I played basketball. I always said that, when I played basketball, one thing I realized there was two baskets basically. I had never heard the crowd hardly at all, I mean, you heard the whistle basically, and I always tell them, once you start playing this game, it'll just be those two baskets and the guys you're playing against and with, and it'll just get quiet. It's amazing. I said, you just don't focus on the crowd anymore.
The excitement level for you personally, you've done this a long time. Will you be nervous, butterfly a little bit? What do you think your emotions will be before tip-off on Thursday?
Well, I kind of get it out of my system, but then when someone calls me or someone starts talking, I like to say, "Hey, just shut up for a while. Let's just go back to life the way it's supposed to be," because then all of a sudden you're hyped up again, and then pretty soon you mellow out, and it's just a roller coaster, I guess you'd say.
That's what comes with going to the State B, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got to keep remembering it's all about these kids. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Well, I appreciate the time this morning. Thanks so much for doing this. Safe travels to Minot tomorrow, and good luck on Thursday night. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Joi Anderson joining us from Central McLean. That is the co-op of Turtle Lake, Mercer, McCluskey, Underwood. I remember when they made it in 2017. I was calling the Class B there, and literally I got photos sent to me from Main Street in, I think it was Mercer, and literally there was tumbleweeds could have been going through. The whole town was shut down. And that time, if I remember right, and I'm sure if somebody's watching, correct me, but I think they played the mid-afternoon game, so that 2:45 game, and it was as loud, and it was in Minot that year, it was as loud as you could imagine it. It was a big, big deal. So now, here comes Central McLean, number one, unbeaten all season long, and they've beaten already a couple teams that are there at the tournament. Eric, if you have a second to put the bracket up when you can, it'd be great. That they have taken on all challengers, and now here you go, their three biggest games of the season in front of them, and this is not an easy thing to do. We have seen teams come to state unbeaten and seen them, frankly, lose. I remember that Four Winds Minnewacan team that got beat by Kindred in 2021, that everybody expected Four Winds to win it. Kindred beat them in the semis, and that was earth-shattering that happened. That Ray team we've already featured on Hot Mic a few weeks ago, that has some electric athletes. Ty Barman is going to be under the microscope. He's the standout for Ray that already has two football offers, one from the University of Minnesota, the other from North Dakota State, as a freshman to play football. He's a fantastic basketball player. North Star has had a great lineage of players at the Class B. The Bearcats are back. That's Can-Do area there. I mentioned you've got the Minot private school battle at 2:45. That's happened more than you think. I'd have to count off the top of my head. I've called at least two of those games between the two Minot privates there with our Redeemers and Bishop Bryant. Bishop Bryant, of course, right next door to the Dome. Our Redeemers had a great run. This is again dating myself. I think 2016 they made it to the state championship game. Their first time there. I think they lost to Four Winds that year. We mentioned Central McLean and Nelson County, and that last one should be maybe the best one of the day. Midway Minto is going to bring a ton of people because they've never made it as a co-op. That's a big deal as well. And Medina Pingree Buchanan, I believe they're the Thunder. Their girls team made it to state a few years ago. Good to see that the boys made it as well. So that's the lineup. Begins on Thursday night on WDAY. The semis are in the afternoon on Friday afternoon, and then we tip off our last basketball high school state championship game, 8 o'clock on Saturday. And I always remember when we were doing it, we got to the Class B, like when we got to the semifinals, all right, the end is in sight for us on what's been a long month, and I'm sure for our crews they're figuring the same way with that. And don't forget, of course, the Class A, which we'll feature that on the show tomorrow with the games coming up at the Fargo Dome. It'd be busy on the north side of Fargo on Thursday. We got the Bison Pro Day happening on Thursday morning / afternoon. We'll be up at the indoor facility for that. The Bison women play at the Shack, and I had a couple people email me saying they had heard Shields Arena was hosting the game. No, the game is at Shields Center Thursday night, and then across the street, you've got the State A basketball tournament going on at the Dome. So get there early, as they like to say, for parking-wise for what's coming up later this week. All right, we'll break here. We come back. We had a couple emails to get to. We'll update on a few other things as well on this Tuesday morning. Final 40 minutes of the show. Back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Coach Joi Anderson for joining us from Central McLean. Class B, as we mentioned, tips off on Thursday. How about Eric, is this a breaking news sounder kind of trade? I need help on this because I saw it just come down from Adam Schefter. If you want to do it, it's fine. If it's not that big enough. The Broncos and the Dolphins have made a deal. The Broncos are trading for Miami wide receiver Jalen Waddle. The Broncos get Waddle and the Dolphins' 4th-round pick in this year's draft. Here's what Miami gets. Miami gets Denver's 1st-round pick along with a late 3rd and a 4th in this year's draft. Is that crazy? Is Waddle that good? I'm not a great Miami Dolphins fan. I tend to ignore them since they routinely beat the Jets, but that seems pricey. So the Dolphins now have 2 1st-round picks, theirs and Denver's. 5 teams in this upcoming draft, which we will sink our teeth into that once basketball is done. We've got Pro Day on Thursday, so it's right around the corner. The draft season will now take our mind and attention, I'd say, at the end of March. But here are the teams now that have multiple 1st-round picks in this year's draft. The Jets have 2. They have their own, the 2nd pick, and the Colts pick at 16. The Browns have the 6th overall pick and the 24th pick. The Chiefs, they need multiple. How does Kansas City have 2 1st-rounders? Kansas City has their own pick at 9 and 29. The Dolphins, we just mentioned, at 11 and 30. And the Cowboys, from the Micah Parsons deal, have their own pick and Green Bay's pick at 20. Those are the teams with multiple 1st-rounders. I guess I'm not a great Jalen Waddle mind. I know Miami at one time, though, they had 2 at quarterback. They had Tyreek Hill and Waddle. That led into the playoffs a few years ago. Now all of those guys are gone. Miami has nothing. Do the Jets have the best wide receiver room then, better than Miami? We still have Garrett Wilson.
No.
No, we don't?
No.
It's a hard no?
It's a hard no.
Is Jalen Waddle worth a 1st-round pick?
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty speedy coming out of college, so that helps. And Tua was his quarterback, but Tyreek probably made him look better than what...
I'm looking at his stat line now.
What he was? He did score a lot when he first came out, so that helps.
64 receptions, 910 yards, and 6 touchdowns this past year. Is that 1st-round worthy? I mean...
What was his years prior to that?
All right, well, let me see.
This past year Tua was all concussed.
So the year you're talking about, he had 104 catches his rookie year for 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's had a 1,000-yard receiver 3 times, 21, 22, and 23.
I would say that's 1st round.
But never more than 8 touchdowns in a season. He only had 2 touchdowns a couple years ago in 2024. Hey, if they're offering it to you, take it, right? If Denver's going to give you a 1st-round pick, if Miami, go for it. The Dolphins are on a full rebuild though now, right? I mean, who's Miami's quarterback? Who did they sign? Oh, they got your guy, Malik Willis, right? They signed Malik Willis.
Yeah, they took him. They took our D coordinator. They took
Halfley's the head coach. That's right.
Assistant GM to be their GM.
It's Green Bay South, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, pretty
Miami.
much.
All right. Let's get a couple of emails in here. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Dom, the NSIC is always one of the best Division II conferences in the country. What I like about it is most teams recruit locally or in the Midwest, and the coaches coach them up and they get after it. Fun to watch as the local flavor is nice to watch. More on that in a second. Dom, I think Dave Richman is finally going to get his shot at a bigger school, not only for his success this year, but of his entire body of work. He's always had teams that play great D. He could have a team with no experience at the start of the year, and by tourney time, he has them ready to roll. Now he has mastered the portal. If he gets to a bigger school where he has some decent NIL, he'll be even better. I've said it for a long time. I think Dave is the best basketball coach the Bison have ever had, and I wish him and his Bison the best of luck on Thursday. Potentially. I mean, there's another job that Mike and I didn't mention. That's Belmont. Belmont is in the Missouri Valley. That's in Nashville. That's a school without football. Those schools that put everything into basketball, I'm thinking Drake. I'm thinking Butler. Those kind of schools that, hey, that's our jam. They tend to do quite well. Dom, I've been busy at work. Just wondering if there's been a shout-out to Coach O and his 5 wrestlers heading to Nationals. Pretty good job in the 3 years after being gutted by the portal. Sorry to be a bother. Not a bother at all. Appreciate it. We did mention NDSU's wrestlers that are leaving today for Cleveland. Totally correct there on Obi Blanc. We televised, 5 or 6, how many home matches they had this year. To have 5 make it to the NCAAs is fantastic. Considering 3 years ago when Roger Kish left, the Bison had a chance at multiple All-Americans. Caliendo was an All-American. I think Franek was as well. And then he leaves for Oklahoma. The roster gets destroyed, and it didn't get the amount of play that it should because it's wrestling. And has built it back now where he's got, they had an All-American last year. Drexler reached the podium last year. They've got a shot at 2 or 3 guys that could be there. And I'm telling you now, we're going to be just hammered with basketball the next couple days. But Friday night, 6 o'clock, find a way to watch the blood round. It is unbelievable. That was the first time I actually did it last year, following a couple of the Bison guys there, and that is amazing stuff because you cannot lose. If you lose, you're off the podium. Last thing, you should start a new weekly segment on Hot Mike to talk about bowling. You could call it Bowling with Mike or McFeely on Pins. Look at that. We've already got segment ideas being thrown out. We'll consider that when Mike gets back from lovely Western New York. Let's break. We come back. We'll head to Topeka, Kansas. Why not? For the D2 Sweet 16 tonight. Duluth goes for a shot at the Elite 8. Justin Wieck will join us from Topeka when Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. You're looking at video from the University of Minnesota Duluth men's basketball team. The last couple nights in Topeka, Kansas has been electric for the Bulldogs, who beat the number 1 seed Washburn on their home floor last night in an all-NSIC rematch, or 2 nights ago, in an NSIC rematch. They beat St. Cloud State. Now they got a chance to go to the Elite 8 tonight as they'll take on Oklahoma Baptist for a spot in the final 8 teams of Division II basketball. For the second time in 4 years, the Bulldogs can do that. As we welcome back to our show, head coach Justin Wieck, who apparently owns, is that a Holiday Inn? Where are you at in Topeka? Is this your new permanent residence where you've been?
Yeah, Holiday Inn Express. We're actually in Manhattan, Kansas, about an hour away. There's big state wrestling tournament all week, so all the teams are all over the place. So I think we know the hotel staff pretty well. Maybe you need to own some stock here. I think we've been here about 7 days, which is a good problem.
Hey, you know what? That's right. It beats being there a day and then heading back. Tell me about this. We had you on, obviously, right after you won the NSIC tournament. And I know you mentioned to me there, we're playing our best ball. We're trending in this direction. Knowing full well, though, you might get the host seed. Tell me about, let's go back to Saturday night and how you played to beat Washburn on their floor.
Yeah, I mean, just an awesome game by our guys. The place was electric. I mean, Moorhead played there last year. Anybody in your area knows just what that atmosphere is like, and it was as advertised. It was jam packed. They're obviously one of the best teams in the country. So they press, they trap. It's just one of those chaotic games, and we told our guys if we can handle the pressure, we got a chance, and we did. For about 25 minutes, and then there was about a 10-minute stretch. I think they went on a 16-0 run, and that place was as loud as I've ever seen, in my time here. So we got their best shot there in the second half, and then our guys just kind of stuck with it and made some big plays down the stretch.
What was that locker room like afterwards, Justin? Winning on their floor, I got to be crazy. I imagine Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, it was everything you can possibly imagine. They were karaokeing some songs. We were just going a cappella there for a little bit. Guys were having a great time. So, I told our guys, I don't know how many people thought we had a chance to win, but I know those 16 guys and 4 coaches and guys in our program. When we met Monday morning after selection show, it was like, all right, they, X, Y, Z. But if we do this, we think we got a chance to win. And it wasn't going to be easy. It was one of the toughest games our guys have played in, obviously. But to just believe in it and be able to prep for 5 or 6 days, I think one of the things that helped us honestly was our conference tournament was, got done the previous Tuesday. So we had some time to rest and relax. That was a tough week. And then, even Saturday, we pretty much knew we were going to play them. So we had a full week to get ready. Meanwhile, those guys are battling the MIAA tournament until Sunday at, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So our guys just had a great chance to kind of rest, reset, and then really just, deep dive 7-8 days, get ready for a team that we knew was really good. But we could really focus in on some things. And our guys, just their toughness and execution of what we're trying to do right now is just off the charts, and so happy for them.
And then, of course, lo and behold, you have another NSIC team waiting for in St. Cloud. But I guess, would that mean the preparation was, quote-unquote, easier since you full know what you were going to get from those guys, right?
Yeah, just from like a coaching prep standpoint, it was exactly what we did 10 days ago. But we knew just with how they're coached and how their guys are, especially after beating them in the conference finals, we were going to get their best shot. And it was as physical of a, rock fight, a brawl, whatever term you want to use. It was as advertised. I think the score was 10-10 with about 8 minutes left in the first half. Both teams knew what we were trying to do. Both teams are super physical. And it was just one of those games where every single bucket mattered. And again, our guys weathered a storm. We were down 14 or 16 in the second half. We weren't doing what we wanted to do. We were giving up offensive rebounds and kind of letting them out physical us, which we've done to teams for the last month. And then just the resolve of our team, they stuck with it. We were in a media timeout, and we kept saying, let's get them to the last 4 minutes in a game, and we got a chance. And I remember we got to that last media with about 3:50 left. It was a 2-point game, and you could just see our guys were believing in, all right, we've weathered the storm. Let's go get this thing done. And, it's a couple big shots here or there. Wieck had one. Owen Leach from DGF, 2 huge free throws to put us up 3. And you can kind of go down the line. Like, it wasn't one guy in that game. Caleb scored 36 on him last time, and that was the story. But everybody had a bucket or two, and that's kind of what it took here on Sunday.
Is this the definition of March, that the 2 games you won by a combined 8 points, like literally survive and advance, right?
Well, it's about time. I've been telling people we were 0-7 in 3-point or less games during the regular season. And then we finally win a 2-point game against Minot in overtime in the first round of the conference tournament. We're one shot away from being done, 21 days ago, right, in the first round of the tournament. And now we've pretty much won, we've won basically 1 or 2 possession games here, about 5 in a row. So the basketball gods are, I guess, finally evening out, what we went through during the season. But I think it's a lot of the lessons our guys learned. It's the toughness and their resolve of just sticking with it, continuing to work as a team. I'm so happy that they're seeing this, success here down the stretch, because there were some tough times when you're losing by 2, by 3, by 1, and you're going to Mankato, St. Cloud. You're playing good teams, right, but you're losing by 1 possession. It's tough, and sometimes it's tough for guys to stick with it, but our guys have been awesome.
So now it's Oklahoma Baptist tonight, the Bison. Appropriately enough, you get them. But this is a team you and I were just visiting. You have history with, so this isn't an unknown opponent that you're going to get tonight.
Yeah, we randomly played a home and home with them the last 2 years. So we played them 2 years ago down there, in a just electric environment. It was opening night. We played them opening night, both years. So they're really well coached. They run a lot of stuff. They're super athletic. A lot of times when you play teams from the GAG, you're gonna face an uphill challenge from an athletic standpoint. One of the best offensive rebounding teams we've played this year. They've lost 3 times all year. They're good. They got guys that can really play. The number 8 team in the country. But But I think our physicality and our toughness, if we're going to win, needs to win out, and that's going to be a huge challenge, obviously. But we've risen to that challenge here, about 6 or 8 games in a row, and our guys have all the confidence in the world. But again, it's going to be a huge challenge. It's an awesome game. Those guys have never been to this spot. We've got some guys that have been here before, so hopefully our experience and our physicality can win out tonight.
I was going to ask you that, just that experience for yourself personally in this game for the second time in 4 years. How much can that be a factor tonight?
Well, I hope it is. I remember 3 years ago, I'm not sure I could have even had an interview during this day. I was so, you're so worked up and so anxious, and it's the biggest game and all this stuff, and you still have those feelings. But you understand, I thought our guys 3 years ago, we took the fight to them right away, and you could tell in the first 5 minutes. We were playing Southern Nazarene, but a very similar style, athletic, great one-on-one players, offensive rebounders, but we set the tone in those first 5 minutes. So relying on that experience is great. You could talk about it, but at the end of the day, that ball gets tipped up. These guys got to go do it. But we have a couple guys that that were on the floor that night, 3 years ago. So relying on that experience and just the understanding of how we have to play in these games, in the postseason, but especially championship games, anything goes. You guys, anybody can get hot. It takes five. These games can take 20 different turns. So trying to go out and really establishing how we want to play right away is going to be huge. And that's been our mission here for the last 48 hours.
How is the support from Duluth in terms of actual boots on the ground? Do you have a nice crowd? I know it's a ways to get where you're at. What has that been like through this past few days?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a pretty good crowd. I think almost all of our families are here. Like everybody, you just kind of win, and then you figure out the next day, and figure out work, and figure out school back home. But nobody, I don't think anybody went. Nobody went home after the weekend. They're here. They're experiencing Topeka, visiting the Capitol. You name it. There's stuff to do everywhere. But when you play the host team, you've got 60 people of the 2,000 there. You get to Sunday against St. Cloud, it's about 60 people for us, 60 people for them, and it's just a totally different atmosphere, right? So it'll be the same tonight. They're going to have their 60, 75 people. We're going to have ours, and our guys are going to get to settle it on the floor. But anybody that's been to a Duluth game, especially in the postseason, we've got a feisty crowd. We've got a rowdy crowd. Our women did it last night in Mankato. I've heard there might be a couple of people just making that drive down, today. So
nice.
Basketball has been awesome, especially the last 3 or 4 weeks for us in Duluth. And, the only time we both made it to the Elite Eight, we did it in the same season 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So why not do it again here tonight?
Well, I saw a video of Mandy's team watching you guys beat Washburn. What was that like for you to repay and watch them win in Mankato, of all places, against Concordia St. Paul?
Yeah, it was awesome to just see their support. There's so much connection between our program, obviously. If you would, I think there's some videos. I don't know if we posted them yet, but this lobby and this Holiday Inn Express was going pretty wild last night during their game. Huge comeback in the fourth quarter,
That's
double
awesome.
overtime.
Yeah.
You can imagine all the emotions going back and forth here, and we don't get a chance to experience that very often. We're usually out there being able to control it. They had to just be fans, and you just got to sit here and watch it and cheer like crazy and kind of go through the ups and downs. And it was cool for our guys. It's great for Bulldog Nation and our fans, the support we have from, our fans, our administration, prior administration, people that have been here, the people that have reached out. Basketball is a big deal in Duluth, and we're seeing that again this year.
So I have to ask the typical reporter question here before we go, and you mentioned a little bit, but quick start, is that necessary or even we have to have that tonight if we want to win?
I mean, it would definitely be preferred. The game's not going to be over 5 minutes into it, but Oklahoma Baptist was down 11-0 at Central Mo, in the semifinals.
Wow.
So you're going to be able to weather it, hopefully. But at the end of the day, in these games, I think we talked about it with the NSIC tournament before. Like, we spent a couple years where Moorhead just rocked us in the first 10 minutes. Mankato rocked us in the first 10 minutes, and it's a tough thing to come back from. Our guys kept fighting, obviously. So, yeah, the start definitely matters. The physicality matters, and hopefully we can get off to a great start this year, tonight.
Appreciate the time, bud. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this, and good luck tonight, all right?
All right. Thanks, Dom. I always appreciate you having me on.
Good to see you, man. There he goes,
Appreciate
Justin
it.
Wieck joining us, University of Minnesota Duluth men's basketball head coach. Bulldogs coming up tonight with Oklahoma Baptist, the Bison. That is at 7 o'clock tonight in Topeka. They've had quite the deal. I remember, I think Bergstrasser told us this last year, too, that they stayed in Manhattan. This is the exact same time last year when the Dragons were down there, and they were doing the hour commute back and forth from Manhattan to Topeka for the games. But when you beat the hosts, and we remember that, we did this game a year ago today, actually, when the Dragons played Washburn, and how electric that was. Saturday night, Duluth goes in there, and granted, it's a different Washburn team, and they're still really good. They're the number one team in the region, and you beat them on their floor. Again, you saw the video. I mean, it's family and friends now. That game on Sunday night when they beat St. Cloud State. I mean, that's what they're going to have tonight for Oklahoma Baptist. It's not going to be that packed an environment. Now it's a coin flip game for them to get there. And off of his point, before we go to break, if they're able to do this and pair that with what the Duluth women did last night, 2 times in 4 years that both make the Elite Eight, that is, you're humming as a basketball program for both on the men's and women's side. So we'll see. We'll be following that tonight. I have coverage of that tomorrow. We'll see if they can make it. The Elite Eight is in Indianapolis for the Division II men's basketball tournament. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready. We got a busy Sports Tuesday on tap, including the opening of the NCAA tournament. That's coming up when Hot Mike wraps after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Tuesday morning. Tomorrow, again, we'll check in Buffalo. The Bison men will be getting ready for their shoot-around out on the floor at the KeyBank Center in Buffalo. We'll hear from them the tail end of our show tomorrow. We'll also get you ready for the Class A tournament that gets going at the Fargo Dome on Thursday. That and a bunch of other, again, if we're struggling for ideas or guests, then I should be dismissed with prejudice right now because there's a bunch going on. We'll have you ready for that coming up on the show tomorrow. Looking forward to that. One other email we got earlier in the show, the 1974 McCluskey Dragons, Dom, they were 26-0 going into the state tournament, lost both games by 2 points each. Going back to our conversation we had with Central McLean earlier, as they are unbeaten heading into the Class B, and they have played a difficult schedule. They beat Ray. They beat Midway Minto. They beat them by almost 30 back in December. So there's 2 wins over teams that are there. And they got our Redeemers as well. They beat them by 3. So they beat 3 teams that are at the state tournament this week in Minot, which, again, is another thing I love about the Class B, especially the scheduling in Class B basketball, is they play the other really good teams. Does not happen in, I don't think, any other level of basketball. In our state, certainly. That's what you actually get a nice gauge of that. All these teams actually played before they got to the state tournament. New mock is out from our guy Mel Kiper. No surprises at the top there with Fernando Mendoza. Let me see what he's got the Vikings doing, because that's interesting now, obviously, with the Cotter Murray signing. He's got the Vikes going with Dylan Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon. Obviously, we think Harrison Smith is done. It's becoming official today that C.J. Ham and Adam Thielen are officially putting their papers in. Boy, that would be – he's good, and he's super fast. He ran a ridiculous 40 at the Combine as well. That would be A-okay if the Vikings end up going that direction with the 18th overall pick. We'll see. Again, we are a month out now. That's the next big thing after the basketball tournament subsides is the NFL draft chatter will get going. All right, let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. What to Watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Got a great sports night on tap tonight. The Wild and the Wolves are both playing. The Wild have the Blackhawks tonight. That's not included on here. They play at 6:30 tonight. That game is exclusive on TNT for the Wild game tonight. All right, USA Venezuela with the World Baseball Classic Championship. That's on Big Fox tonight, 7 o'clock. As the United States goes for its first title since 2017. The Timberwolves, without Anthony Edwards, he's already been ruled out for this game. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They got to turn it around here because they stink right now against a Phoenix team that's trying to get out of the play-in. 7 o'clock on FanDuel Sports North. As we mentioned, the NCAA men's basketball tournament officially begins tonight with UMBC and Howard on True TV at 5:40. As we leave you today, congratulations to the Duluth women rallying from double digits down to win in double overtime over Concordia St. Paul to send them to the D2 Elite 8 in Pittsburgh. Our thanks to our guests today, Dave Richman, to Mike McFeely, and everybody else included. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.